Part 22. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 211. Chapter 211. Yeah, I lied again. Yezikin raised his lips and asked again, do you still remember the contact information written on the note? Baiki bit his lip. Wei twisted the corner of his clothes, looked at him pitifully, and said weakly, I'm sorry, brother, I forgot. Yezikin slowly held up her palm, put the newly warmed milk in her hand, and changed the subject in a moment. The milk is warm, drink it. Oh, thank you, brother Chen. Wei put his palm on the bottom of the cup and immediately grasped the wall of the cup, and quickly removed the hand that was in contact with Yezikin. Because she didn't want Yezikin to find out, her palms were sweating. It doesn't matter, it's just someone I haven't met yet, so it's not important. Yezikin calmly paved the way for her. Wei raised his eyes when he heard those words, unable to hide the flash of bright color in his eyes. Although she didn't know how the note was lost, she couldn't deny that she was relieved. She is indeed very selfish. In fact, she remembered the contact information of Dr. Huo's niece very clearly, including the woman's name, which was deeply engraved in her mind. Yezikin left and took a plane back to school on Sunday. Wei has resumed her military training career half a month ago. The only difference is that she now has a little crush. She can't be considered a little fangirl, but she is the first and only one in the class to be praised by the devil instructor. The new classmates admire her a little, but of course, I don't know if she really scores points. Yuan Ran, who was saved from heat stroke that day, came to thank her. He was not enthusiastic, but sincere. Wei has a good impression of Yuan Ran. Shen Nianan was as addicted to books as ever. When Yuan Ran thanked him, she thanked Yuan Ran in turn and said, thank you for letting me read quietly all afternoon. Wei frowned slightly as if thinking of something. Have you really been watching quietly all afternoon? She clearly remembered that there were a few gangster-like students who made a noise in the entire infirmary that day. Yes, be quiet, but Shen Nianan did answer that way. Wei couldn't hold back her laughter. She had never seen such an interesting book-loving girl. The last week of military training finally ended and classes resumed. The students all exclaimed, good study. When you study, you don't need to be outside in the wind, and Sunday you can sit in the classroom and enjoy the air. I really feel good about going to class now. I think this is the school's conspiracy. Deliberately making them endure hardships reflects the benefits of being in the classroom. The head teacher walked in with the roster in his hand and began to instill chicken soup for everyone. Okay, congratulations to the students on the end of the military training, so now you have to calm down, it is time to enter high school life. At the end of the day, the head teacher will give the key points. There are so many people in the class who need to be managed, and teachers also need helpers. Now we have to choose class cotters first of all. Who wants to be the class leader? Perhaps everyone was shy and no one raised their hand at the first moment. The head teacher repeated in a good temper, is there any student who would like to recommend himself? Still none. Well, if not, I'll make some myself. The class teacher looked around the roster, then looked around the classroom for a week, and finally pointed in yes only direction and said, classmate Jiao Ling will take charge of this job. Monitor, are you willing? Wei, who was suddenly called, stood up. I. Just when she was about to express her position, a girl in the second row suddenly stood up and said loudly, teacher, I am willing to be the monitor. Please be sure to remember this girl. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 212. Chapter 212. A boy invited her to dinner. Teacher, I am willing to be the monitor. The girl was wearing a fresh and elegant white dress, with pink lips, long black hair, and an oval face. She looked like a goddess in the heart of a male god. Ye Wei thought that he would give up his seat without fighting for it, but Lu Biang behind him suddenly started shouting, "Teacher, let us vote for the monitor." "Well, you get along every day during military training, and now it's up to you to vote. Now, let's invite Jiao Li and another classmate to come up to the stage and introduce themselves." Ye Wei blinked. She wanted to say that she had no intention of becoming a leader. But when she faced that girl, she saw an inexplicable hostility in her eyes. With everyone's encouragement, Ye Wei went on stage to introduce his name, and also learned that the girl's name was Gu Yi. The name sounds pretty ethereal, but her personality is a bit strong. I checked my class ranking. According to the entrance examination, my score ranked third in the class. I think I have the ability to serve as the class president. In school, the most proud thing is your grades. Gu Yi ranked third, and K's only ranking was probably third, 10. Ye Wei was originally a grade skip student, and his basic knowledge was not solid enough. It was already good enough to get into the school with average scores, but he was in the middle of the class in the entrance exam. So Gu Yi was confident in declaring war on Ye Wei. In comparison, Ye Wei's self-introduction was tame and unoffensive. Then, now it's up to the students to vote. In the secret ballot, Gu Yi attracted the attention of many male classmates by virtue of her foreign trade advantage, and Ye Wei was now named and praised by the devil instructor and gained a lot of popularity. The votes between the two have always been tied, and the students who didn't care at first were a little nervous. Ding! The head teacher has recorded all the votes on the white paper in his hand, but the word on both sides of the blackboard is exactly the same. The head teacher patted the blackboard and asked seriously, "The number of people in our class is an odd number, how come there is one less vote?" The classmates in the seats looked at each other, and finally Lu Biang found that Su Yuchen was holding a piece of white paper in his hand. Lu Biang, who was afraid that the world would be in chaos, shouted loudly, "Brother Su, there is still one vote here. Student Su, please turn in your vote." The head teacher walked up to Su Yuchen, and Su Yuchen handed her the voting paper. The head teacher opened it and saw it was blank. The head teacher patiently reminded him, "Student Su, your vote is the key." Su Yuchen's eyes flashed slightly and he pointed to the stage. An anxious Lu Biang patted him on the shoulder, "Brother Su, choose." Gu Yi is beautiful, but Su Yuchen remembers Jiao Liao's name, this. Everyone's curiosity has been aroused. Who will Su Yuchen, the classmate who does not have contact with all members of the opposite sex, choose? Ye Wei on the stage lowered her eyes indifferently. She was actually a person who didn't care about many things. She would save trouble by not being the squad leader. But just when Ye Wei was about to give up, Su Yuchen's lips curved with a cold arc, and he made a firm choice, "I choose Jiao Liao." Ah! Ye Wei was slightly surprised. The number of votes exceeded, and Ye Wei took over the position of squad leader inexplicably. Gu Yi was not convinced and recommended herself again, "Teacher, in that case, I hope to serve as the deputy monitor to serve the students." Since the students with good grades were so active, the class teacher certainly agreed. At noon, Lu Biang, who is familiar with the situation, invited Ye Wei to have dinner with him on the grounds of celebration. "Jiao Li, congratulations on becoming the squad leader, let's have dinner together at noon and we will celebrate you." Gu Yi was chosen after the reader named Bai Yi, because the plot required a change of surname. Gu Yi doesn't hate Ye Yi for some reason. It has something to do with a girl who hurt Xiao Lingdang before. Can you guess it? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 213. Chapter 213 Mr. Squad Leader. Ye Wei refused Lu Biang's invitation without hesitation. Thank you for your kindness, but I. With a blink of an eye, she pulled Yuan Ran, who was passing by, to her side, but I made an appointment with classmate An Ran. She winked at Yuan Ran. Lu Biang did not give up. Classmate An Ran is coming too. We are all new classmates and should get to know each other. Yuan Ran refused concisely. Sorry, I don't like to be in contact with boys. She refused to be touched by boys when she fainted. Yuan Ran insisted, and Lu Biang didn't want to bring trouble on himself, so he left with the gang of friends. Huh. Ye Wei breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you, classmate An Ran. Yuan Ran looked coldly and asked, you don't want to eat with them, why don't you just refuse? Teeth slid across his lower lip. Ye Wei puffed up his cheeks, loosened his lips and explained, look at the group of boys around Lu Biang. If they don't give them face at the beginning of school, it will be difficult for me to be the monitor. The most taboo thing in class is forming cliques, but the easiest thing is for boys to form cliques. If she is not the monitor, she can ignore others, but as the monitor, she must carefully handle the relationship between classmates. Otherwise, if Lu Biang leads the boys to rebel, she will have a headache. Yuan Ran raised her eyebrows and admitted, you are very thoughtful. You must always use your brain when doing things. Hands of formal class, compared to the harsh military training, the students are much more relaxed. Everyone started chatting about gossip and hobbies. Su Yuchen was ranked on the school's top ranking list, while Gu Yiyi interacted with people everywhere, and her gentle personality made her ranked on the top ranking list. Shen Nianan became a nerd in the eyes of everyone, and Yuan Ran had a title, Cold Beauty. The reason is that Yuan Ran is fair-skinned and beautiful, but she is never seen smiling. Even her eyes can be summed up as calm, indifferent, and unruffled. She is indifferent, but she is not the kind of self-reliant and arrogant. If she had to describe it, she would be like coming out of the mud but not stained, poking through the clear ripples without being evil. She can only be viewed from a distance but not played with. Compared to these four, Ye Yi is much pitiful. The English teacher has an impromptu meeting and asks you to organize dictation for your classmates. The art teacher said that this issue of the Blackboard newspaper should be completed within 2 days, and the school will inspect it then. Study committee member, I'm missing 2 copies of my homework. In the eyes of the teacher, Ye Wei is a good student who is hard-working and obedient. In the eyes of the class committee, he is a real and responsible monitor. In the eyes of his classmates, this monitor has a soft personality and is easy to talk to. Although being the monitor is very tiring, Ye Wei feels that her high school life is quite fulfilling because she is able to get in touch with different people and things. If possible, she is willing to study in an ordinary way until the college entrance examination. But, she might be out of luck. Squad leader, our class is playing basketball with the next door team today, please bring some people to cheer us up. Good. In the afternoon, Ye Wei called a few active people to cheer up. Squad leader, we forgot to buy water, can you help us bring a box of water? Oh. Soon, Ye Wei called the other 2 boys to move back to the mineral water. During the intermission, Lu Biang suddenly stuffed a mobile phone into Ye Wei. Squad leader, we are so handsome when we play, it would be a pity not to record it. Ye Wei pursed her lips and accepted it silently. Just 2 minutes into the video recording, her own cell phone rang. Ye Wei lowered his head and looked at the screen, and his eyes that were originally lifeless suddenly flashed with starlight. Where have you been? Have you entered school? I'm at the basketball court. There will be an event tomorrow. Guess who's coming? Get a prize if you guess right. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 214. Chapter 214 The gift mailed by Yezikin. The school map has divisions. I'll wait for you at the basketball court. Yeah, I just hung up the phone. I heard Lu Biang yelling on the basketball court, "Squad leader, remember to put the camera on me." Ye Wei's hands trembled and he quickly raised his phone to take pictures. I thought the person would be here soon, but after more than 10 minutes there was no one there. When I sent her a message, she only replied, "Wait a moment." Lu Biang came off the field as a substitute. While wiping his sweat with a towel, he walked towards Ye Wei and reached out for his cell phone. "Thank you, squad leader." "It's okay." I handed the phone back with a slight smile. Lu Biang replayed the video happily, and within 2 minutes he found that the camera pointed towards the ground and captured nothing. "Oh. Monitor, you are doing this and this." "I'm sorry, I didn't pay attention when I answered the phone just now." Ye Wei hurriedly scrolled the timeline back 2 minutes, and the subsequent video was considered normal. Lu Biang quickly watched the video, stared at Ye Wei with a smile and teased, "I found that the person who took the most videos of the squad leader was Brother Su. The only one who is confused at night." She clearly took the photo at Lu Biang's request, but she wasn't targeting anyone. Someone suddenly tapped her shoulder, and a clear and crisp female voice from behind came into her ears, "One and only. I found you." Ye Wei suddenly felt happy, turned around and hugged Gongkin Li, feeling very good. "Finally let go." Ye Wei pursed her lips and asked, "Li Yulai, why did you come here?" "I was afraid you would get lost." "No way." Gongkin Li shrugged and spread her hands, explaining, "When I came here just now, I saw someone moving things, so I helped to delay some time." "That's good. I'll leave when our class's basketball game is over." Ye Wei was about to point at the basketball players and talk to Gongkin Li. Lu Biang suddenly came over and extended a hand of friendship to Gongkin Li. "Hello, little beauty, my name is Lu Biang. I am a classmate of Monitor Jiao and the main forward of our class basketball team. Nice to meet you." Ye Wei holds his forehead. This Lu Biang is simply a walking social man on campus. He wants to hook up with everyone he meets. Fortunately, Gongkin Li also had a cheerful and lively personality, so she shook hands with him very generously. "Hello, my name is Gongkin Li. I am Wei, Jiao Li's son." Gongkin Li makes friends with both men and women, and it mainly depends on their character. Although I don't think someone as smooth-tongued as Lu Biang can make a deep friendship, a superficial friend can save Ye Wei's face. Lu Biang is very good at communicating. Knowing that Gongkin Li and Ye Wei played well, the conversation started with a burst of praise for Ye Wei. "Our classmate Jiao Li is a great helper. He is a good helper among teachers and a good monitor among classmates. Even the school boss, Su Yuchen of our class basketball team, also looks up to the monitor with admiration." Ye Wei was quite happy when she heard the first half of the sentence, but when she heard the second half, she frowned and blinked at Lu Biang. It was too late to say anything. Gongkin Li, who had not paid much attention to communication, suddenly grasped the key point, "Schoolboy." Su Yuchen pinched the bridge of her nose with her slender white fingers. Ye Wei looked at the ground innocently, pretending not to hear. Gongkin Li smiled perfunctorily at Lu Biang, and casually pulled Ye Wei aside. "Yi, you are rebelling." "No way, that Su Yuchen is my junior high school classmate. When I was elected class president, I was 1 vote short of him. He voted for me. This matter has been talked about by my classmates for a long time." That's it. After hearing the explanation, Gongkin Li stopped delving into it. She held up a square box as if by magic. "I almost forgot, Brother Chen mailed you a gift. In the last chapter, you all said it was Brother Chen, ha ha ha, but actually you were all wrong. Guess again this time, what is the gift?" End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 215. Chapter 215. My brother and Faxiao are all owed to me by the country. Ye Wei was pleasantly surprised when he accepted the square box, a gift from my brother. Yes, Brother Chen told me that I will hand it over to you personally. Gongqin nodded seriously and poked the box with her finger. Open it quickly and see what it is. Why do you ask Li Yulai to pass the mail to me? You forgot, you complained in the group before that the guard at your school was not doing his duty. The express delivery was left at the guard's desk and anyone could take it. Brother Chen was worried, so he sent it to my house and asked me to deliver it to you personally. Come on. I must be something very valuable. The ones who played the best in the past were them. If Nangong Luo was still here, he would be the one who was enslaved. But now that Nangong Luo has gone abroad, the enslaved person has naturally become Gongqin Li. Thank you, Li Yulai. Stop talking nonsense, just open it and take a look. Ye Wei nodded, feeling extremely excited when he rubbed the box with his fingers. She opened the lid of the box with a little force, and a crescent-shaped and round earring stood in the center of the box. Earrings, when did you get your ears pierced? Gongqin Li turned her head and stared at Ye Wei's ears, and found that she was not wearing any jewelry and there was no trace of ear piercing. Ye Wei shook his head slightly, took out the pair of earrings with his fingers, and found that behind the earrings was an ear clip, which could be worn even without piercing. Yezikin is very careful. Wow, Brother Chen is so warm, Gongqin Li was amazed. The only surprise in the night. I regretted not having my ears pierced before, but now I have made up for it. I couldn't wait to spread his hands, and raised the corners of his lips. Lu Li, can you put it on for me? I'm very happy. Gongqin Li had her ears pierced, and her skilled crescent moon ear clips were put on Ye Wei. Just when he was about to take another one, Ye Wei retracted his hand. Ye Wei said, just wear one. Gongqin Li asked in surprise, why? The different patterns on the left and right are very unique and look good when worn. It doesn't matter, just wear one. While the two were chatting, the class basketball game also ended. Ye Wei always has an appointment with Yuan Ran at dinner. Today, Gongqin Li came and planned to tell Yuan Ran. Gongqin Li stopped her behavior. I'm here for the first time today. I want to try the taste of your canteen and help you identify your friends. It's not that Gongqin Li is meddling in other people's business, it's actually her, who has a heavy responsibility. Moreover, the incident between Ye Yuyi and An Ruan was quite a big deal. Ye Wei didn't worry too much and treated Gongqin Li to a meal in the cafeteria, and introduced her and Yuan Ran to each other. This is my friend, Xiao Gongqin Li, who is still in the third year of junior high school. They automatically avoided the famous aristocratic college names in Jao. This is my friend Yuan Ran. In class people call her a cold beauty, but An Ran has a very good personality. Since everyone is a girl, they don't have so many scruples. Gongqin Li talks a lot, Yuan Ran talks a lot, but Ye Wei manages to not be left out by either of them. Gongqin Li glanced at Yuan Ran several times during the meal. Ye Wei pushed her with his elbow. Li Yulai, what are you doing? Eat well. Gongqin Li smiled and asked Yuan Ran, classmate An Ran, have we met somewhere? I think you look familiar, but I can't remember it at the moment. Yuan Ran, who was eating in a ladle-like posture, looked frozen. Sorry, I don't know you. Thanks to Shues Yanglian, U11, Baikan North Deep Sea Sleepless, Shi Xiaomang for the reward. Regarding the previous chapter, you actually guessed that my brother is here? Can my brother put himself in a box? About the next chapter, there will be 2 activities, please wait. About Chinese Valentine's Day, I know that my brother and Fa Xiao are both owed to me by the country. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 216. Chapter 216 video on USB flash drive. Sorry, I don't know you. Yuan Ran's indifferent answer made Gong Qinli a little embarrassed, but not angry at all. Suddenly a figure in white clothes came over. Gu Yiyi put a gray USB flash drive on the table. Monitor, the teacher heard that you recorded a video of the basketball team and asked you to edit the video of our class. Editing, it was just recorded casually, why do you need to edit it? Gu Yiyi put down the USB flash drive and was about to leave. Ye Weiwei hurriedly picked up the USB flash drive and stood up from her seat. Gu Yiyi responded perfunctorily with a very casual attitude, the teacher wants to treat this video as a promotional video. It is very important and should be edited as soon as possible. Ye Weiwei frowned, but I don't know how to edit. Why don't you go find a classmate who can? Gu Yiyi replied matter-of-factly, you are the squad leader, so of course I will leave this matter to you. Gu Yiyi, you are the deputy squad leader and you don't do anything. Of course it's because, Monitor Chiao, you have done so well and your teachers and classmates all praise you. Of course, you have to handle such important matters. At this point, Gu Yiyi has already shown her only dissatisfaction with Ye. At the beginning, Gu Yiyi worked very hard to outdo Ye Youwei. When the deputy squad leader compared her to the squad leader, Ye Youwei would be laughed at. Unexpectedly, Ye Weiwei is a hard-working person who rarely refuses help from others. He works hard to make progress in the class and is praised by everyone. Gu Yiyi's heart became twisted and she began not to perform her duties as deputy squad leader. In fact, the teacher gave her the USB flash drive and asked her to make it, or go down and find someone to edit it. Now, she was deliberately causing trouble for Ye Yiyi, so she threw the USB disk in front of Ye Yiyi. Anyway, it's the teacher who wants the video, you are the monitor, so you can do it yourself. Gu Yiyi looked at the person sideways and snorted arrogantly. Snap dash. The grumpy Gong Qinli couldn't sit still, so she slapped the table and stood up. Gu Yiyi, stop. Gu Yiyi turned around in surprise when her name was called. What's the matter? You, apologized to Chiao Lian. I was just conveying the teacher's words, you are too serious. Gu Yiyi didn't take Gong Qinli seriously at all, so she casually put down these words and left. Gong Qinli immediately wanted to catch up, but Ye Weiwei held her tightly and consoled her, Lu Li, don't be angry, let her go. How can you let her go? She's clearly bullying you. I have to teach her a lesson today. Knowing that Gong Qinli was getting angry, Ye Weiwei leaned over and whispered a few words in her ear. The expression on Gong Qinli's face changed from anger to surprise, and finally, she couldn't help but smile a little. Then I believe you once and I won't cause trouble for her. This is how a farce ends. After getting the USB flash drive, Ye Weiwei started to work hard at night to learn video editing. Her dorm roommates tried to persuade her several times, but she only said, since the teacher asked me to edit, as the monitor, I should do my best. Ye Weiwei's performance in class has always been very good, but this time he stayed up for 3 days in a row for the video. In addition to eating, he only edited the video. After completion, accompanied by her roommate, Ye Weiwei copied the video to a USB flash drive and handed it over to Gu Yiyi. In class that day, the teacher called Gu Yiyi's name and asked, has the video editing been finished last time? Gu Yiyi glanced at Ye Weiwei and said, teacher, the monitor said before that he had to edit the video himself. I'm not sure about the progress. The first question, what is on the bell of Yes Only bracelet? Activity 1, Q&A with prizes. Event time, April 17th to April 22nd. Activity rules. 1. Ask questions related to the book after the chapters at 19:30 every night. The questions and answers are all from the book. 2. The first reader who answers correctly will be awarded 200 book coins, and one lucky person will be drawn from all subsequent readers who answer correctly and will be awarded 100 book coins. 3. The answer to the question needs to be posted again in the book review area, otherwise it will be invalid. 4. Answer format, quick answer and answer. For example, quick answer XXXXX, quick answer XXXXX. 5 For each question, the answer will be announced in the chapter released at 17:30 the next day. Take a screenshot and contact the administrator 11U to receive the prize. Activity 2, Rewards for stepping on the building. Activity rules. 1 Male physical gifts, bracelets, dream catchers, soft girl cups, dolls, of your choice on the 520th floor of the reward building. 2 The award-winning readers require fans of Apprentice and above. If there is no answer on the 520th floor, it will be postponed. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 217. Chapter 217 The only one who was framed. Ye Wei stood up and confronted her. Gu Yi, I already handed the USB flash drive to you at noon. Is there any monitor? Did you remember it wrong? Gu Yi said that she did not know the progress of the video editing, which meant that she denied the fact that Ye Wei handed the USB flash drive to her. The monitor and the deputy monitor had a disagreement, and the class teacher was not willing to let them argue in front of the whole class, so he quickly smoothed things over and said, "You two think about it carefully and come to the office to talk to me in detail later." After class, Ye Wei and Gu Yi went to the office together. The head teacher's expression was serious. So what's going on in this video? Ye Wei was the first to explain. I spent 3 days editing the video, and then copied the video to a USB flash drive and gave it to Gu Yi. But Gu Yi pretended to be confused. Squad leader, I really didn't receive any USB flash drive. Have you forgotten what I personally handed over to you at noon? Squad leader, you must have remembered it wrong. In short, no matter how Ye Wei asked, Gu Yi refused to admit that she had received the USB flash drive. The head teacher listened to them arguing for a long time and his head was pounding. Okay, since I made the video before, there should be the original in the computer, so let's copy another one. The head teacher took out a black USB flash drive from his drawer and handed it to Ye Wei. Ye Wei hesitated for a moment, then took the USB flash drive and said, "Okay, teacher." She was about to go back to the dormitory to copy, but Gu Yi offered to go with Ye Wei. "Why don't you, teacher, come with us too, so that we don't have to hold on to each other's opinions and it's difficult to distinguish right from wrong." The head teacher was free for the time being, so he agreed. The three of them returned to the dormitory together and found a gray USB flash drive on the edge of the desk. Gu Yi picked it up proudly. "Is this the USB flash drive? It's obviously still with you." Ye Wei frowned, turned on the computer, and entered the password. After entering the desktop and inserting the USB flash drive into the computer, a message appears that the video file is damaged. She searched all the folders and found no trace of the video. "The only video that I worked hard to edit for 3 nights disappeared inexplicably." Gu Yi said something sarcastic next to her. "Squad leader, you didn't make it well and you deliberately falsely accused me, right? How is it possible? I've obviously done it. But there is nothing on your computer. The USB flash drive you gave me turned out to be in your dormitory, and the files are still damaged." Gu Yi looked serious on the outside, but she was happy in her heart. "Yeah, I did hand her the USB flash drive at noon." As soon as she received the USB flash drive, Ye Wei's roommate came and pulled Ye Wei away. Gu Yi saw that no one was in their dormitory, so she walked in unexpectedly and found that the screen of Ye's only computer was still on. The use of computers is not allowed in high schools. Temporary use is only allowed due to special circumstances. At that time, a bold idea came to Gu Yi's mind. She first destroyed the files in the USB flash drive, then cleaned up the files in the computer, and finally left the USB flash drive on the table. Everything went perfectly. The two had an unclear argument, and Ye Wei asked to confront his roommate. They returned to the office and called their roommates. But the roommate denied that he accompanied Ye Wei to hand a USB flash drive to Gu Yiyi. Gu Yiyi was confident because the roommate who witnessed everything was also bribed by Gu Yiyi. Ye Wei said, "Someone must have touched my computer." Gu Yiyi now deliberately pointed out, "Your computer has a password, and others don't know what you have done. Let's take a precaution first. Don't say that Xiao Lingdang is easy to bully, she has her own tricks." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 218. Chapter 218. The earrings were stolen. Ye Wei shut up, gritted his teeth, and slowly said, "Gu Yiyi, are you sure you want to go against me?" "Squad leader, I ask you not to slander me," Gu Yiyi put on an arrogant expression. "You two are both class monitors. If something like this happens, there is always a right or a wrong. Now the factual evidence points to Ye Wei lying." Although the class teacher did not explain, the attitude he showed also made Ye Wei suspicious. But both of them are their own students, and they hold the highest position in the class, so it would not be nice to spread the quarrel. The head teacher put one hand on his hips and the other, "I really can't explain, so I'll just re-edit the video." Gu Yiyi, whose plan succeeded, snorted disdainfully at Ye Wei. But at this time, Ye's only expression changed slowly. "No need, teacher, please let me log in to QQ, and someone will send the video soon." The head teacher frowned. "What's going on?" With a slight smile on his lips, Ye Wei said in a soft voice, "Because this is a video about a basketball game. After it was completed, I sent it to Lu Biang and the others for review. Suddenly I remembered that they still have the video there and I had contacted them just now." The head teacher made room for Ye Wei with doubts. Ye Wei smashed the computer and logged into QQ. Soon Lu Biang edited the basketball video. Ye Wei breathed a sigh of relief. "Teacher, now you believe that I really made the video." Seeing the situation change, Gu Yiyi apologized and said it was a misunderstanding. The head teacher also smoothed things over. Ye Wei lamented, "Previously, classmate Gu Yiyi said that you, the head teacher, asked me to edit the video. I stayed up late studying editing and made the video as fast as possible. How could I lie? The head teacher is not a policeman, let alone a detective." Regarding this matter, the head teacher chose to keep things quiet. Ye Wei felt uncomfortable, but he didn't hold on. For her, Gu Yiyi is not someone worth spending too much time on. As long as her bottom line is not touched, she can tolerate anything. In self-study class, the academic top students in the front row quietly work on the questions, such as Shen Nianan. The scumbags in the back row lower their voices and talk about everything, such as Lu Biang. There are also some people who are neither noisy nor fussy, but don't want to read. Ye Wei was doing the questions. Yuan Ran stared at her for a long time and suddenly said, "Your ears are very red." "Huh." Ye Wei subconsciously reached out and touched his ear. "Yes, it hurts a little. It's not that it's red, but the right ear where I'm wearing the ear clip hurts a little. It's because I've worn the ear clips for a long time." Yuan Ran revealed the truth with one sentence. Rubbing his fingers on his ears a few times, Ye Wei took off the earrings. Although earrings are convenient, they are still a bit uncomfortable to wear for a long time, but she just can't bear to part with them. Naturally he put down the pen in his hand, and Ye Wei pinched his ear clip and looked at it for a long time. She was thinking about something, and before she knew it, the bell rang for the end of get out of class. She opened the class schedule and saw, it's a physical education class. It's physical education class, so I just put the earrings back into the box. The original box was still in the bedroom containing the round earrings. She specially bought a new box at the jewelry store to hold her own earrings. It can be said that she stored these small things very well. Ye Wei put the box on the table and left the classroom with Yuan Ran. Gu Yiyi, who had witnessed all Ye Wei's movements, stood up when she saw people leaving the classroom. The only place at night is along the aisle. Gu Yi walked past Yi's table, stopped there for a while, and left calmly. Thanks to wish to have you, 137 to the power of 50th, Hongling and other cuties for their rewards. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 219. Chapter 219. Gu Yi has been to your location. Halfway through the physical education class, free time was announced. Yuan Ran, who didn't like physical education class, said, "The physical education class ends early, let's go have a meal." Okay. Ye Wei smiled and nodded, suddenly thinking of the earrings placed in the classroom. Wait a minute, I'll go back to the classroom to get something. Ye Wei didn't want others to wait for her for too long, so she ran back to the classroom and reached into the drawer to touch the box, but found nothing. Huh, she squatted down in surprise and looked at the neatly arranged drawers. There was nothing but books and pencil cases. Ye Wei quickly moved all the things in the drawer onto the table and searched unwillingly, but there was no trace of the box. She had clearly put it in the table before going to physical education class. She could be sure that she remembered it correctly. But now the box is gone. The classroom was quiet, no one was there. Just when Ye Wei's heartbeat was racing rapidly, someone suddenly stepped into the classroom. She raised her head when she heard the sound, and saw Shen Nianan slowly walking in with a small notebook in his hand. Ye Wei's fingers on the table were pinched and stretched, and pinched again, and finally he punched the table with his fist and rushed downstairs. "I'm sorry and ran, I lost my things. If you are hungry, you can go to the cafeteria to eat first." "I'm really sorry." Ye Wei quickly explained to Yuan Ran and then asked questions one by one in the playground activity area and rest area. "Excuse me, have you seen a blue box, the kind that holds earrings?" No. The students who were asked waved their hands. When asked about Gu Yi pushed her away directly. "I didn't see you, don't disturb us playing badminton." Yuan Ran saw her anxious look, and a tangled expression appeared on her cold face. She suddenly rushed over and grabbed Ye Wei's hand and asked, "You lost your earring? Is it important to you?" "It's very important, I must get it back." Yes only answer was loud and clear, and Yuan Ran saw determination in her eyes. Ye Wei continued to ask people, and Yuan Ran also started to ask questions for her from the other side. The boys play in groups. Lu Biang, the most active one, is now leading the training. Standing next to him are those who are fine and more familiar, only Su Yuchen. Ye Wei clenched his fists, took a deep breath and walked over. "Su Yuchen, can I ask you a favor?" Su Yuchen heard the sound and looked away from her, remaining silent. Just when Ye Wei was about to call the group of boys to a stop, Su Yuchen said unhurriedly, "Say. The appeal of boys is certainly the strongest among boys." Su Yuchen stopped and gave Ye only time to ask. The boys didn't answer perfunctorily, but all the answers were that they didn't know and had no clue. Ye Wei sighed. Lu Biang swatted the ball away with one palm. "Brother Su and the squad leader have spoken, please think about it again." A voice came out, "Before physical education class, I ran back to get my meal card. I remember that the last person in the classroom was the nerd Shen Nianan. Go and ask the monitor." Shen Nianan. She knew that Shen Nianan was addicted to books, but she forgot to ask her one more question. "Thank you all." Ye Wei nodded and thanked her, and hurried back to the classroom. "Shen Nianan is still here." "Shen Nianan, I would like to ask, have you ever seen a blue earring box?" Shen Nianan answered flatly, "No." Ye Wei bit his lip. Shen Nianan suddenly mentioned, Gu Yi seemed to have stopped at your place before. Announcement of the answer to the first question, yes, only bell bracelet has bells and gems on it. Kixi saw many answers, some answered with bells, some with gems, but some didn't answer comprehensively. Hold your forehead. The second question comes out at 19:30. Let's keep up the good work. Let's have a simple one on Chinese Valentine's Day. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 220. Chapter 220 Special Hobbies. You mean, Gu Yi has been to my place? Yeah, I gritted his teeth deeply, and his face still looked like he was smiling. Shen Nianan nodded. I just saw her passing there and stopping for a while. I don't know anything else. Okay, thank you, I'll go ask Ye Wei forced a smile and nodded to Shen Nianan. After turning around, Ye Wei's expression suddenly turned cold, and there was still a hint of sinisterness in his eyes. Ye Wei rushed to the playground again and saw Gu Yi and other students happily playing badminton from a distance. He walked towards Gu Yi faster. Ye Wei stood in front of Gu Yi and said, Gu Yi, I have something to ask you. Can I borrow some time? Gu Yi snorted coldly and pushed the person away again. I asked you, monitor, are you annoyed? Didn't you see me playing badminton? Everyone in the class knew that Ye Wei and Gu Yi had been at odds from the beginning because they were competing for the position of squad leader. Gu Yi was courteous to others but targeted Ye Wei. The only time Ye was pushed by Gu Yi was that she took several steps back and almost fell. The classmate next to her couldn't stand it and helped Ye Wei to speak. Gu Yi, the monitor must have something serious to do with you. Why are you so cruel to her? Gu Yi was speechless. Ye Wei walked towards her again and seemed to gently grab Gu Yi's wrist, but Gu Yi couldn't open it. Ye Wei threatened in a voice that could only be heard by the two of them, you are struggling. Do you believe that I will let everyone see that you, Gu Yi, are bullying others? Hearing the strange emphasis, Gu Yi seemed to be enlightened. Qiao Li, it turns out you are just faking it. The two of them walked to the pool in a stalemate. Ye Wei directly reached out and asked, give me back the earrings. Gu Yi turned her head away nonchalantly. What kind of earrings are they? I don't know. Gu Yi, I know it was you who took it. It's really funny. You have to provide evidence when you speak. Gu Yi refused to admit it and even beat him up. Don't throw things away and slander others. Hands clenched into fists rested lightly on her temples. Ye Wei had no patience to argue with her. Ye Wei silently took a step toward Gu Yi. Gu Yi subconsciously took a step back, seeming a little wary of this Ye Wei who looked different from usual. Gu Yi, let me remind you, don't mess with me. The only one Ye identified was her. Gu Yi was irritated and simply took out the box. Ye Wei stretched out his hand to grab it. Gu Yi quickly opened the box, raised the earrings, and threatened, if you move again, I will throw the earrings into the water. There is a pool next to it. Yes, only movement paused. Just when Gu Yi thought it was the only time to scare the night away, Lu Biang and Su Yuchen suddenly came over and said, hey, what are you two squad leaders doing here? Gu Yi quickly held the earrings in her hands and said with a smile, talk to the monitor about class affairs. Gu Yi gave Ye Zi a look, thinking she would cooperate. Ye only lowered his eyes, with a cold chill in his eyes. She is seeking perfection now, but Gu Yi will not be kind enough to give her the earrings back. Gu Yi, how does it feel to be a thief? Is it your special hobby to hold my earrings in your hand and not return them? What nonsense are you talking about? Gu Yi didn't expect Ye Wei to be so straightforward. When she saw Lu Biang and Su Yuchen showing doubts on their faces, it seemed as if the mask of hypocrisy was lifted, and she was immediately ashamed. Gu Yi glared at Ye Wei fiercely, then turned around and threw the earrings into the pool. Second question for bonus points, name any 3 character actions or language that often appear in the text. Key points, for details, see the spring activity post pinned to the top of the book review area. End of this chapter.